Hey, it is evening of June 30th. I guess technically, as it is after midnight, it is July 1st, which is it's Canada Day. So if you're in Canada, happy Canada Day. Even though by the time you see this, it'll be well beyond Canada Day. This is the part one of the building the Centurion. I'm not sure how much longer the camera's going to hold out because I'm not sure how much space is on here. So I'll talk quickly and I'll stitch it together. I'm tired. I'm going to bed in a second, but I'm very excited about this progress. And this is going to be a fairly limited making of because I'm already like halfway done building them. I started today. Started with, I have a design, but, a design, I mean an appropriation of design. But this is, I can't remember the density, but I wanted to get this thing called Minicell, which is this cool closed cell foam. But it was expensive, and I would have had to special order it. So Nancy, the very nice lady at the foam store on Trillium Drive in Kitchener, if you need foam, and you're in a you're driving distance of Kitchener, go to the foam store. They're pretty cool. I'm assuming Nancy remembers me by name because I'm one of the very few people who go there for puppet stuff. Anyway, this is nice little foam. It's nice and dense. So the reason I wanted it to be so thick is because I wanted to be able to take paint well, because I'm going to be spray painting it. So instead of doing the plastic foam, my original plan was to do vacuum forming of the whole thing. I've done the vacuum forming of a gun, so this is my copy of the gun. It's kind of cool. Oh, it's kind of lumpy. I've got to get thinner plastic. That happens in a couple weeks or whatever. But I was going to do the whole Cylon that way. Of course, that was going to be a much larger endeavor, and I kind of want to do it for the sake of, I don't know, awesomeness or something. And it would have been, but the problem with it, and here's the problem with it. Stylistically, hold on. Okay, just want to make sure the camera's still recording. Stylistically, none of the other puppets look photoreal. I mean, they look pretty cool. They're over there in the corner. I don't know if you could see it from there, but they're there. And I thought that it occurred to me that the Centurion should not be as photoreal as I could try to make it. Now, that would also be the problem, is I'd be trying to make it photoreal and then probably failing, because it would be my first attempt. Whereas if I made him out of foam, then he would look pretty cool and fit more visually, because the gag that we're going for here is that the Cylons are essentially puppets. So it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense if the Centurion, which I'm sure we'll duplicate digitally and having lots of shots, so have many of them. I don't know what this was supposed to be. This is not this. Many of them. Anyway, I'm tired. So decided to make use of foam. This also had the second effect of positive effect of me being able to do it much faster, because it would have been a much slower process. I'm still going to use the vacuum forming for the guns. I'm going to make like 6 or 8 of the guns. It's going to be awesome. But not for the Centurion. Now, plans. This is the sketch of the Centurion. This is I did. Maddie and I went up for a nice romantic getaway in Meaford, and I spent an hour drawing a machine of death. So this will make very little sense to you, but basically I thought out all of these pieces, so out of all these things. Basically what I'm doing here is I'm making a column and then sort of stacking pieces. So it's actually going to be fairly simple, whereas a lot of this I would have had to like basically mold or carve, pardon me, the entire Centurion piece by piece, and quite frankly my sculpting ability is not as good as my foam use abilities. So, and the hands would have been a disaster or a nightmare. So anyway, so this is this, and then here are the plans for the head. See, the daylight lighting is much better here, isn't it? So yeah, so that's that. And I figured out these little chicken scratches here are my determining the individual components of the puppet. So like, here's how I'm going to make the arm, which is a tube and 2 little pieces that may actually just be a tube. Here's how I'm going to make his hips, and here's how I'm going to make the forearm, and here's, the whole Megillah. This is the Cylon head. Now, the foam is this dark, but I've done one coat of paint because I want to see how it's going to look. Now, it'll look much better when I do a second coat because it's still soaking heavily into the foam, but it's evening. So basically, these kind of look like a weird, because it's all blocky, which I think works well. I think it's pretty cool. So it looks a little handcrafted, which makes sense. It looks actually like a bit of a cross between the Centurion from the original and from the new one, which is pretty cool. Now, this is the body that I have so far. So basically what I've done here, you can actually see it is getting to be fairly close to the sketch, as you can see, sort of thing. So basically what I have here is I have this tube. This tube goes up to about here, and then I have two pieces that sort of wrap around. You can see where they go. They go to the back. There's an opening, which we'll never see, probably. I have little bolts, because I sketched that bolt, but I don't know exactly what the hell that's about. I feel like they're there in some of the sketches. Basically, the trick here was to not try to make this as detailed as is humanly possible, as my tendency. So basically, I want to sort of pick the overall, like, this actually represents me using a reference of a proper thing. Like, this is a lot more complicated as a sketch, just to sort of get the general feel for it. And then I just thought, I gotta, like, there's this whole, like, complicated geometry right here, where it sort of comes up a little bit, like it's sort of like almost embossed, and there's a little cavity there and kind of thing. And then I sort of stripped some of that away. And here I actually had a note. These two lines denote to me like putting another piece of foam there. But I thought, there's actually not a whole lot of room there, and it's totally unnecessary. So I want it to be simple, or simpler. And when I do a couple coats of paint, when this gets solid gray, it should look pretty cool. I may... I'm going to do a test before I repaint this, probably. I'm not sure, because the problem is I want it to be shiny, because the Centurions are shiny, but they're not metallically shiny, So I might just put this, what I have, as a couple undercoats, and then just do one coat of shiny on top of it to make it pretty shiny. We'll see. The foam should support it, so that'll be cool. So basically I have this column here, which is pretty cool. These little bolts, and then this is a tube on top of it of sort of angled. It's yeah, let's do this. So this will look kind of weird. It make no sense to me. So basically it's two pieces like this, sort of angled in, and then I basically took another piece like this. So it actually sort of, you glue one thing, and that's actually, then it becomes one piece like that, and then you sort of fold it from here to here. You get those folded in, and it becomes a nice even tube. And then I sort of cut it. I actually cut it a bit to make it fit around, because I mismeasured it, and I actually don't have as much foam left as I was imagining I would. I'm going through it pretty quick. And then this is just basically this piece right here, which is to say, this piece looks like, when it's unfolded, there's actually a piece that was actually kind of like this, and then choop, 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 choop. And now this, so this basically, when I curve it, I curve this in so that when you fold it, because this is sort of becomes like that, then this becomes straight. So if I had it straight, this part is actually curved in, so that when I fold it, it actually sort of evens up. Whereas if I had left that straight, it would have kind of done this. And see, this seam corresponds to here. So this is front, and this is back, if that makes any sense to you. So I glued those in to sort of give it a curve. Now the reason I put that seam there was so that it would have this sort of slope, because as is the Cylon sketch, it does that. So this is it with the head currently. And it looks really badass right now. Maddie's really going to hate it because she doesn't like the Centurion. She finds him pretty creepy. It'll look pretty cool when it's painted. I'll probably do either a coat of metallic paint or like a gloss or something.
I'm in the dark and you're a shooting star, and in the night it wouldn't be so hard if you'd come back home.